My name's Michael. Do not copy what I'm about to do. So I had a delivery from Loir-Merlin of 40 rafters, 40 chevrons, and 130 little, and 10 panel OSB, or OSB boards, tongue and grooved, to help me in my quest to redo the roof. And what you're about to see is obviously something I've been in the building industry since the age of 16, um, and I have certain techniques which I do, which I wouldn't recommend anybody else necessarily does, because it can obviously be quite dangerous. So what I'm doing here is ripping down the batten, because in fact I couldn't find the size of batten for the house currently is around about 30 millimeters by 15 millimeters, or an inch and a quarter by 5/8 of an inch in old money. Now, the problem with that is the French don't do it like that. They do it in millimeters, and I couldn't get anything. Oh, they do it in millimeters rather, but they don't do that particular size. I did find one store which did that size, but they were actually charging more, twice as much for that thin batten than what I paid for the much thicker batten, which I then ripped in two. So you can see the old batten is there, new batten, which I've just cut in two using a circular saw at low level, because you need to support. You need to have some pressure on the litho to keep it in place while you're cutting. And normally I keep a foot behind the machine, because a foot rather in front of the machine, to hold the batten firm. Because if the machine was to suddenly want to recoil, it's going to go backwards. It's not going to go forwards. It's not going to come flying forwards, just the way the circular saw works. So if my foot is in front, it's never going to be in danger, particularly of the saw coming its way. And it's only right at the last point where I've got no more batten at the front to play with, I will then stick my foot at the rear and continue pushing and making sure I've got well supporting the circular saw, and it's not going to want to recoil back into my foot and do me some damage. So I say, if you're watching this at home, um, please don't copy me. It's just something that I'm able to do. I'm competent at doing it, and people are going to say, "Why aren't you doing? You do it on a lower level, or not on a lower level? Why are you doing it on a lower level? Why aren't you putting it on like a table or whatever?" Well, if you put it high, you've then got to support it somewhere. You got to hold it in place while you're cutting it. Otherwise, it's going to go here, there, and everywhere. And if you put it in a table, they're so thin, the section, it's very difficult to actually sort of pin it in place. Whereas if I just put my foot on it, not too far from where the circular saw is, ordinarily, it works quite well. It's a bit of a pain on the back after a while, because I've actually got to cut 130 pieces of this. Each batten is 4 meters in length, and I knew that I needed about 260 lengths in total, 260 4 meter lengths. So I bought 130 of this bigger size to cut in two to make the equivalent of the old batten. And now I hear you asking, so why use the same size as before? Why not use a bigger batten? Right. The reason I can't use a bigger batten is because my house is attached to another house with the same tiling, as you'll see in later videos. And because of that, I can't suddenly use a much thicker batten, because then you'd have a distance. You either have to try and run some sort of ridge all the way between the two properties, which I'm not keen on doing. Um, there's no other way of doing it, really. You've got to really keep, because it's the same. If the roof was separate from the other house, I could just make the roof however I wanted it to be. Because it isn't, because it's attached, we would say semi-detached in the UK. I don't know what the equivalent is in the USA. Because it's attached to a house, and a section of the roof at the front and at the rear is joined to my neighbour's roof, I'll have to essentially work to the dimensions that are currently there, which means that I can't put, ordinarily, the house I built in Normandy, I put sheets of insulation, the Celotex, on top of the rafters that were put in place, and then I battened it. So I had a protection. I had something like 15 mil, 20 mil of insulation board directly underneath the slate. It was a slate roof in Normandy. Here we've got a problem with where I've been pulling at the circular saw a little bit. The live lead just came loose from the connection, which meant the machine stopped working. So then I had to faff about, um, take the plug off. It's actually a machine that I had in the UK for a long, long time. It's a Hitachi chainsaw. I had to change it to a French plug because obviously I was using French electrics from 2017, 2018. So I bought these cheap plugs which are different from the British ones. They have an earth point, but it's not like a 3-pin plug like the UK. But it's as effective. But the live lead came away, and hence the need to do a quick repair before I can continue whipping down. I'll stop the video for a little while. I'll stop speaking, and I'll let you hear the sound of the chainsaw as it cuts. Not chainsaw, circular saw. So while I'm merrily cutting away, I'll talk a little bit about the debacle, which was the delivery of Leroy. So I've done the order, and it's going to be 2 or 3 days before they can deliver it. And they say they're going to deliver it on the Monday. They don't give a time initially, but it's meant to be within sort of 4 hours, okay, of a certain time. So I arrive. Then I get an SMS which says they will be doing the delivery between 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock in the evening. Okay, superb. 12 hour possible delay. So I uh, got myself down to the house. I set off early from Paris. Got to the house just before 8 o'clock. I was pretty confident it was not going to. Nobody was going to be turning up at 8 o'clock because the Leroy Merlin depots at Le Mans. So if they were starting at 8, it would be 9 o'clock probably before they get to me anyway, at the earliest. By midday, I haven't heard anything as such, and then I get an SMS from the driver which says we're expecting to do the delivery between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Okay, that's great. So I replied back saying thanks a lot, thanks for letting me know. I'm here at the house, so it's no problem. 5:30 comes and goes. There's obviously no delivery. I then get a phone call from the driver. He says, "Really sorry, I'm running late. Um, I'll definitely be with you by 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock in the evening." Okay. I said, "Well, okay. You can only do what you can do, I suppose." I'm still at the house. I was anticipating being there until about 7:30 anyway, because I'd booked an Airbnb for the night at the Ferté Bernard, which is about 25 minutes away, and I needed to get over there to get some provisions ready for the next morning. So I thought, well, all right, if he arrives at 7 o'clock in the evening, it's going to take him 15 minutes to get the stuff off, and then I can sign the bon commande, and I can be on my way. Okay, so 7 comes and goes. He's not there. So I ring him and say, "Look, where are you?" He said, "I'm really sorry, I'm still delayed. It's probably going to be 8:30 before I get to you." I said, "For me, that's not acceptable. What you can do is when you arrive, you can just put it in the front garden." I took a picture of the front garden and I sent it with the SMS to him, saying, "You have my permission to put the stuff in, to leave the stuff in the garden." So anyway, my neighbour said, yeah, he did. He arrived between 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night. So it's a long old day for him as well, for the delivery driver. But that was Leroy Merlin. The reason I use them is that they're incredibly cheap. To be honest with you, I mean the quality of timber is not fantastic, but I did try a couple of local timber merchants fairly close by, and they would just once if they hear an accent, an English accent when you're speaking French, they just take you for a fool, and they're just going to be right. It's going to be like double the price. So the prices that they were suggesting for the rafters were about 45% dearer than what I paid at the Royal Merlin. So although there's a bit of messing about and faffing about with the delivery, I saved quite a bit of money by using them, and at the end of the day, it did arrive. I went off. I left at 7:30, got to 30 Bernard, did a bit of shopping, got my provisions ready for the next day, loads of bottles of water because it was going to be very, very hot, as it currently is. We're talking the beginnings of May 2025. And that was Loir-et-Cher. So there's another. The problem I've got is I am quite where I am. Although I'm only 2 hours from Paris, I'm then just about an hour from Le Mans. I was just about an hour from Chartres. Chartres is the other side, much closer. It's about an hour from Paris, and that's got a Brico depot, and it's got various other DIY type stores there and builders merchants, but they're both kind of an hour away from the house either way. And then, like I say, you've got a few smaller merchants in and around 30 Bernard and that, but much dearer. And that's not to say that every French company is going to try and take advantage of you. There's some super guys out there. When I built the house in Normandy, I had an account with Point P, and because in fact the house I bought from the neighbour, and his son actually was a manager at one of the Point P's, so he always did me a really good deal. The top man he was. I do find Point P tends to be quite expensive, even with the deals that they do. But because it was my neighbour's son, and he was super helpful, and he would always get the stuff there, like when I needed it, rather than sometimes at the time. Sometimes you got to wait a day, 2, 3, 4 days. But so no, because the budget is very tight, to be honest with you. I need to consider every time I spend, am I getting the best deal for my money? And I believe on this occasion I was. It's just a bit of backbreaking work, ripping down 130 bands. I don't want to rip them down all at the same time. I'll just do enough to give me a start, and then I can keep ripping down. If I do sort of 20 minutes each time, I'll eventually work my way through the batten, because it's not a lot of fun. And also, yes, I should be wearing goggles. Yes, I should be wearing earmuffs. I've got steel toe cap boots on. I'm wearing gloves. The gloves are going to do a lot of the circular saw catch fingers, but I have been using circular saws and that for more than 40 years, and I've never had any major sort of injuries. So touch wood. So I do kind of know what I'm doing, but this is not like a lot of the videos I'm doing. These are not instructional videos. This is how you cut wood. This is how I cut wood. This is how Michael cuts wood when he's doing jobs like this. You need to feel confident and have competence to do things with power tools. So by all means enjoy the video, but don't take it that this is how you normally rip down batten. And if you can find batten that is the right size for your roof, obviously that's a lot easier. And if you've got the budget, that it doesn't matter that you're going to be paying slightly more, again, do that as well, because it's quite a few people have pointed out, if you save time, you can also save money that way as well. I mean, for this, I don't think it counts for a lot for me, and also it's something I can show. I can explain why I've cut it down. I can show how I've done it, and then once it's nailed on and the roof's back in place and everything else, you'll see the picture from A to Z. So that's that. It was very hot that particular day. This was the Monday. Sorry, this was the Tuesday after the delivery. And once I'd cut, I don't know, about 15 batten, I decided enough was enough for the day. And I had to then stack all the timbers and stuff inside of the house. It's very safe there. It's not as if people are going to be coming along and wandering off with rafters and boarding and stuff, OSB boarding, but just for my own peace of mind, and just because I've always done that when I was working in the UK, I never left stuff outside on site. I always made sure it was either inside a property, or it was in a safe environment outside a property. So I just decided, let's do it. Let's stack it all, finish cutting, finish the last batten or two, and then get everything inside. And then that's my day almost at an end. I might take another video or two just around the house. And that's that. And also sweep up all the sawdust. It's a pity I haven't got a few years ago, my kids had guinea pigs. That I love the sawdust, so nice and fresh. But we haven't got guinea pigs anymore, and so the sawdust, and because it's sort of treated as well, you're not going to be able to. I suppose you couldn't really give it to put it in pets like that, rodents and that. I don't know whether it would affect them or not, but probably better not to. So it's just a question of sweeping it all up, putting it in a bag, and disposing of it later. So that was that. So I think this is now the final batten that's being cut. Final batten. You see, I'm holding the board with my left foot. Now I've turned to my right foot, which is at the back of the circular saw. The cut's done. Is that the final batten? I hope so. Yes, but don't bang it in there. And now we've got, so now we've got indoors afterwards, 20 minutes afterwards. You've got the rafters at the bottom, and you've got the batten on top. The rafters are 75 millimeters by 60 millimeters, I believe, which is what, about 3 inches by 2.5 inches, and there's more out the back where it's nice and secure anyway. It's well within the garden. I put the bath outside because I disconnected that. I'm going to make a water feature with that. I might have said that before. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.